Can you guys hear me out there? I'm here. No sound. Can you guys hear me out there? Welcome to Twitch. We are going to get started. Today is going to be really exciting because I cannot wait to. We're going to debug our Lambda bot. We're going to do it in Visual Studio. So this is going to be totally fun and exciting. You guys can holler at me about what I need to do with my code in Visual Studio and in debugging. This will be kind of fun. So we're going to get started. Let's see who's out there in chat land. We have 30 minutes today. And so I want to be really mindful of your time. But please remember that Nikki is on the chat. She is ready to take your questions. We'll take questions as we go along. And I want you guys to talk back with me as we build this Twitch bot because, of course, we are debugging. And debugging always helps when you have another set of eyes. So please chat back with us about different things. We're going to put this stuff again in the repo. And I'm going to make sure we share that in the chat for the repo as well. Okay. All right. So let's start up Visual Studio and get this party going. We have limited time and I don't want to waste it. So let me just go ahead and start up Visual Studio and start my desktop. All right, so hopefully you guys see my desktop. And if you went to our last Twitch session, you can remember we wired up this Lex Flower bot, this Lex Flower Hook bot. We wired it up in Visual Studio and also in Lex, and we started to test. And then we found that, there was a few challenges with it. Maybe that was by design, so you guys could help us debug. But let me just blow this up so you guys can see it. I'll blow it up a little bit more just so you guys can see the full thing. All right. So the first thing we changed when we were doing this was the fact that we realized that our intent name, we were getting an error back because our intent name was not the same as what the default function was. So we added the current intent Twitch Flower bot. Now, the next thing we did when we tested is we needed to go into the order flowers processor so that we can actually make some changes based upon what's out there. And so we were finding we were having some challenges with it parsing and other things. So we're going to fix that today. For those of you guys who did not join us last time, never fear, no worries. What we did last time was go through the bot and make sure that the function was working appropriately. So let me upload this one more time just so we have it up there, and then I will show you how this worked. So Visual Studio, where we're going to debug in it. My bot name was Terra Flower Lex Bot. We're going to hit next. Again, I love the fact that all of this is within Visual Studio. I don't have to leave Visual Studio unless I so desire to. So that's really cool that I don't have to leave Visual Studio to do any of that. Okay. So once I have this up here, all I need to do is test it. And again, if you didn't come to our last session, no worries. Look at the recording, but we're going to run this in the Lex system afterwards. But this is debug time. So this is what we're going to do. When I'm debugging in Visual Studio, the first thing that I obviously want to do with this is to make sure that I have the appropriate test. And so what I can do here, let me first drop down so you can see some of the default tests that we have. But what I can do here is actually configure the test for how I want it. So I'll drop this down so you can see. I have a bunch of different tests that are in here by default, some Lex ones as well. But since I'm going to play with this is my current flower one, I can now start to test it with these variables on here. So I want to do flower type iris, latest, Terra, dialog hook, etc., etc. I can hit invoke and you'll see that it came back with some different information for it. Now, In our bot, it's doing our validation and other things via this system, but the function is actually not returning back what we want. Right now, I have not changed the bot function handler to handle my other flower types. If you were with us last time, you know I had other flower types like roses and lilies, and tulips were the default, but I added irises and violets and other things. But I did not update my Lambda function to validate that those flowers are valid. So this response, while it's not giving an error, is not correct. So we need to make a few changes here. So let's go back to our artist flowers function. Now, the first thing that I want to change, if I look at this, let me run this one more time. What if all my values are null? Because when it first comes across, it's going to come across as null because I haven't passed any slots in as of yet. So when this first comes across from Lex, it's going to all come across as null. So let's take that out and hit invoke. And so when it first comes across, how do I have, the price session attributes, because I already calculated that. But when it first comes across, everything should come across as null and it should delegate back to the bot. That's the first thing. The second thing is that once I select a flower type, if it's anything other than roses, tulips, or roses or lilies, it should give me back that this is an invalid type. It's not giving me back that, so let's just run it. I'll show you. If I hit invoke, it's taking iris. That's not right. So this is where we're going to debug. So the first thing I have here is my process. Let's make a few changes here. It says if it contains the type slop, it's out, flowers null. We have all of this, but it's not picking up this correctly to go to validate. So let's make some changes here. The first thing I want to do is I want to clean this up just a little bit so that I have my validate flower and the way I build my type in a different place. So let's go, where is my mouse? There it is. So let's go and bring up here. Let me go on Chatty to make sure you guys. All right. What I believe I should do before I do anything else, and you guys let me know, we're debugging with you, is to determine whether or not it's really good to have this check or this build the flower orders bot. You can see here. Let me scroll down because you can't see here. Let me scroll. There. You'll see that right now I have flower order and orders new flower. And I do this directly in the function, in the process function. It's not a separate function. I haven't validated anything as yet, but I'm already building a new flower order. And I don't think we should do that. I think we should have a separate function that just validates the different types of flowers, because I can add to this. And what we're going to do for this is we're going to actually have it where it pulls from a database. So I should probably have a separate function that does some things about the flower order. So that's what we should do first. So let me do that. Tech Geek, I see that you're going to build your first chatbot this weekend. That is very exciting. I can't wait to see you do that. So, oh, that's weird. I guess I have too many Visual Studio windows open. All right. So, let's change that while we have it. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to change a few things. The first thing is when I get my slots, before I check if it has a key or anything else, what I probably should do is just see if all the slots are null and just immediately send back. Do I need to go through all of this trying to parse the slots and see if the unum types are right? Or should I just go ahead and if this flower type is, if all these are null, I should probably just go ahead and do that. So I'm going to change these to here, where one, I'm going to change this slot. I believe in strongly typing things. So This is going to return a dictionary. So let's just make sure this is strongly typed so I can leverage that up front. So I'll take that first. The next thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and strongly type my dictionary function too. I'll do that so I can start a test. Get some real estate here. Now let's add something that if all the slots, now that I have this as a dictionary, I can take advantage of some of the features of a dictionary, like using a link call to test for stuff. So if slots, let me save this so I can pick this up. So if slots, if all the values are null, then I should probably just return. There's really no point. I just should return the delegate and say, hey, I need to solicit 4 slots. And so I'm going to do that. Let's just clean that up. So if I, what doesn't it like here? Definition for all. That means I need to use link. So let's add link up here. Good. All right. Putting things up in the right place always helps. All right. So if slots, I cannot type today. Let's put the right thing there. Okay. Let's see if slots. No, I should probably. What doesn't it like there? Let me just look and make sure what I did wrong. Oh, I am missing another parentheses. You guys aren't telling me. You guys should tell me, hey, you're wrong there. Return slots. And that should not be there. Typing way too fast. There we go. I don't need all that real estate. So let me just make it really clean here. All right, so now we have it. If all the slot values are null, let's just go ahead and return the delegates back to the function. There's no point in going through checking a flower type at this point because all of them are null. So we can get some efficiencies there. Let's see, what else do we need to do? So I have flower types equal a type. And now that I've done that, I should probably check first to see if the flower is valid. So let's change this a little bit. I'm gonna just take this out, just this part. Okay, so I have a bunch of slots, and as long as the slot is not null, I'm going to return. So let's just check the type slot. Now you're like, what is type slot? So let me just scroll up quickly to show you that we have some can constants here, and for here the type slot is called flower type. We could probably say flower type slot so that's more clear, but that's fine. This type slot is just a constant that is going to check for a key that is of flower type. So verifying again, if so we checked if all of them are null. What if now we have values in the date, even though the bot doesn't go in this flow, but you always want to do things proactively. But let's pretend like the way the flow of the bot is, if I would change it, is that it checks for the date first and the flower type second. So I'll go ahead and put in here if, let me scroll up so you can see as I type, if the slot type is not null, if the value of this isn't null, because I know I have a key, then I want to do something here. And what do I want to do? I probably should build something here that is going to validate the flower type. So what we can do is run it to see what this looks like coming back. Now, how do I run this and look at the log and see what's coming back? Let's do that really quickly. So I'm going to put a console write line before I write this function to see what's getting passed in that slot. So, you know, typical console write line, and this will actually log to CloudFormation. And I want to see what this slot value is. Flower type slot is okay. So let's run this. So let's save it. Now I'm going to go back to my function. I want to upload a new source. Actually, you know what? I'm going to be lazy because I love the fact that this already has the built into me. I'm just going to hit the publish to Lambda because then it fills in all my JSON stuff for me. I can hit upload and I'm raring to go because I'm lazy, and this is a great way to do it. Error uploading function. Check progress windows for error. It says the name type does not exist in the current context. So that's error number, I'm on 57 through 61. And probably because I commented out that flower type and it's being used somewhere else. So let's put that back in, and then we'll change that later. So let's put that back in. I should probably do a build of solution and get those errors prior to uploading. Let's be proactive here. Unassign use of variable type. So why don't I just default this for the interim to here? Because that is an enumeration. And let's see if it likes it now. So you see, again, I haven't really gone out of Visual Studio as of yet. I'm primarily staying in Visual Studio and I'm outputting things. Okay, so I've succeeded. Now I'm going to go back to my function here. Let's upload this version. Now, what you should have noticed when I built publish to Lambda, and I think this is a cool thing to notice, and I'm going to actually show you in the output. It does what you would do normally if you were publishing .NET stuff. It's going to run a .NET publish. Look down here. I'll blow this up a little bit. You'll see that it's doing a .NET publish on the working folder. It's restoring the values. It's actually generating the binaries. And then it uploads this existing code to its function. So it's doing those things for you, and it's working within the normal nomenclature of .NET Core. All right, so this is uploaded. It liked it, and now it allows me to test. So this time I have a flower type of iris. I'm going to keep that in because I want to check that. I'm going to hit invoke. It comes back with what the response would be. But here's something you can see here is that actually my logs are, I can check my logs here as well. So you see that the event is at 750. It's 750. We hit here. I can see that the log ran and it says my flower type slot is iris. So I can check without even leaving Visual Studio these logs if I so desire. All right, so no, I don't want to save. Now that we know that, we're going to check the log. Let's go ahead and finish this puppy up because again, like we have limited time. So I want to build a function that is going to validate my flower type. So let's write a function called validate flower type. We have a bunch of functions here. I'm going to put one here. So we'll name this validate flower type. Actually have something similar written. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and copy some of this function, and then I'll have to change it for what I want mine to do. So I'll just put a default signature here from another bot function I have. And then I'll put the stuff in here. You'll see it says not all code paths return a value because I haven't written anything out yet. So the first thing I want to know is the flower type valid? I want to have a value that does that. And because we're validating this against the enum, enum has this in Visual Studio, this great thing about is defined. And I love that because then I can immediately check whether or not the type of this flower has a value. Or is this flower type that I have, is the same that passes in. So I'm going to take the string that's going to pass in. Right now my enum is defined. Let me show you that. Well, let me finish typing this so I won't do it. My enum is called flower types. It only has 3 types in there that are valid. And right now you see that it's returning back to me of a value of irises. And irises are actually not in that enum. So it should say that this is wrong. And we will probably go just 10 minutes over so to 40 because this shouldn't take long. So I'm going to hit this define. So if you look here, if I go to definition, you'll see that my public enum only contains roses, lilies, and tulips or null. Anything else is really invalid. And even though I have irises on there, it doesn't say that. It says it's passing back irises as if it's valid. Now, when I do this, when we actually alter this and have our bot running in ASP.NET, I'm going to then have those other flower types added in Dynamo and check those. But we're not there yet. So my thing I want to do here is if it's valid, I want to try to parse that value out. And again, I know that it's valid because if I parse this out, if I parse this out, it is going to give me the appropriate value in an out clause. So I need to do flower type string to lower. Now there is an error here. I want to see if you guys catch it that I have in here of what I typed in that first enum. So I wonder if you guys see it as yet. There is an error here that I have. Anyone see the error while I'm typing? No semicolon. Okay. That's one error. I have another one. So now I have the semicolon. There's another error there of functionality that I have. And you guys are supposed to be debugging with me. So check that out and let me know. I'm going to finish writing this else statement. So there's another error here that I have. Anyone? I'm just going to copy my other validation statement from the other one and then check it. So let's see, type slot format. What I want to say, we don't have flower. Flower. I think this has a can. The original one has a can answer. Our most popular flower is roses. Oops. I'm missing the same question. All right. Let me get some more real estate on this. You can barely see this. All right, so let me see if you guys found the error. Yep, great. That's okay. Essence Scenery got the answer right. I'm using to lower when my enum values are properly cased. So you're absolutely right. So do I need the to lower there? You're absolutely right. All right, good job. Inte, you actually caught one of the errors. So no, syntax checking is perfect. You guys both got it. I have one more. It says that type doesn't exist in its current context, and it's because that I have a type at the top, and I have it declared at the top as if you recall correctly, I had that type declared at the top. It is a just in that function, so it's not valid throughout the whole thing. So I should take this and bring it up here, which should make then this work. Yep, it likes it. All right, so now I can return a string. Okay, validate flower type. If it's not defined, okay, we have flower. That should work. And then we can test this as appropriate. So let me go back now that we have this function created. I'll add some more stuff to this function, but let's make sure that it just at least we have the validate flower type. So let's go back now that we have this and add this to if my slot isn't null. So let's see, under process, I wrote out the flower type here. So if it's not null, I want to validate the flower type. It really should be a validation result. Thank you, Nikki. I didn't get rid of the other two lower, did I? I did all this and you found the error, but I didn't correct it. Yep. Thank you. All right, it's gone. There you go. I like when we debug together. All right, so let's go back up here and add my flower type. So I want to validate flower type equals me calling my new function. I'm going to take in that slot. I should probably just assign that slot a value and stop typing all this, but since I'm already in the fray of it, I won't do that right now. I love IntelliSense. Makes typing so much easier. So now, okay, I have the validation type. So now if I have the validation result, I can now test to see if it's not a valid flower type. If this is not valid, then I should return that I need to re-elicit that slot. Because this was the problem we were having with our bot before. And then once we do this, we should be able to go to our bot and run it and find that we are now cooking with gas in this bot. So return elicit slot. I always want to turn my session attributes. I am going to return my intent name because as we talked about last time, I can have multiple intents. I'm going to return my slots. And what is the name of that? Flower. Valid flower. Validate flower. Message. Okay, let's see. Return elicit slot. What does it not like there? There is no argument that corresponds with the parameter message. So let's go look at my definition for my elicit slot. Yes, actually it does respond to the message. So let's see, what did I do wrong? Anyone want to help me out here? What am I missing? I know what I'm missing. I know it's wrong. But let's see if you guys can figure it out. I'm going to start typing it though. I know why it doesn't like this. I sent back the entire slots, but I'm missing one key thing about this. So I have slots, but did I put back, if you see, the slot to elicit? I didn't. So it's in the wrong place. This is what happens when you're typing too fast. So I need the violated slot. Make this look so you can actually read it. Okay, that should do it for us. That should help us actually figure out that it's been parsed and that this is ready. And so the only thing I need to do now is just create the order. So let me just take this here. I'm going to take all of this. I'm going to cut it out and make it into a function so I can call it from anywhere. So as I create an order, I can do that. So I am going to, if I could type, what did I say I was going to name it? Create order. And I'm going to paste this here. I should take in the slots. I need to make sure my slots are within reason. Private order slots. Anything you guys see missing here? This is our last thing we need to do to debug our Lambda function and to get it working in our bot. Now, I already see something I did wrong because I'm typing too fast, but I'll start it and I'm going to look and see if you guys know what I did because my signature isn't right. Let's see if you guys have said it. Let's see, right? Oh yeah, I love peak. I'm literally just not doing peak because I want to make sure you guys can see in the stream. If I was doing this normally, I absolutely would just do peak. It's my favorite new function of Visual Studio that they added. I think it was 2015, 2013. New, who wants the GitHub link? Okay, you guys haven't told me yet. So let me know what you think this is wrong. I'm gonna start typing what is wrong here, what I didn't finish. Create order, string slots, type slot. Now, why doesn't it see this? Yep, are out of scope. Yep, missing definitions. Yeah, Inte, you're on it. You're really on it. So good. I love this, that the fact that you are really on this. So I need to do what to fix it? Let me close this down so we can get some more real estate. And this is our last thing that we would need to fix to be able to have this right. What will I need to do to fix this to have this work? So that's here. Well, I'll tell you, they were all out of slope because I put it in the wrong parentheses. It was something, yep. Good job, MC Scenery. You got it. Pasted before line 177. You guys are good to be able to watch this and see this, the errors so quickly. All right, so create order. My last error that I have with what you see here is that I am not obviously returning any values back. So let's return that back. Anything else that you think? I think that's pretty good. I think now all we need to do is actually validate our slot or create the order once we do this, and then we can go back to the bot and realize that it's running correctly. So do you guys see any other errors that I have? I'm looking for you. Anyone? No, no one's saying anything. There's one more error here. Really quickly. I think Nikki kind of knows what it is, but there's an error here. There's something I don't have to do. Okay, I can tell you if you don't see it. Yep. You are on it, Inte. Yes. No, you're absolutely right. First of all, I don't have to have null at all. At this point, I've already validated that it's not null. I've done all that. All I have to do at this point, if since create order has validated that it's right, I want to get to create order. Otherwise, I just need to do a type there because I've validated that it's right. So now if I change that to type, so type is always there. When I create order, I should be good. So if I go back to the process function here, drop this down. I've checked to see if all of these things are null. I've checked to make sure that this value in the type slot is null. Now I've validated that it's valid or not valid. At this point, if it is valid, I should be able to create my order at this point. And that's literally the last thing we have to do within a little bit over, but not too much. So that's good as far as building and correcting and debugging our slot. So let's go up and do that. Everything is parsed. Let's just create the order. So let me get here, bring that up. So I took this out because there's no point. In fact, let's just delete this. There's no point in having that there for no reason. If I could actually copy and paste, I mean, how hard is that, really, Tara? Okay. Now that I have that here, I know I got one more error. Let's paste that in. And now it's create order slots. I think we are good. Let's try to actually run this. Now, again, if you want to debug anything on here, the console write line actually writes to CloudFormation. But I think we're good here. So I'll just do, just to show you if I could type order, flower type, to string, just to spit something out there. All right, so let's run this. Let's save it. In Visual Studio, I love the fact that if you install this, you don't have to do really anything. We could stay in Visual Studio. I'm gonna upload. Any questions while this is uploading, restoring, and going forward? Intel, you've been on it. You and MC Scenery or MC, I don't know how to say that, but you guys have been totally on it and catching these errors. I love this. This is how you debug together. All right, so I want to now run this. We're gonna go back to test function again. If you install the Visual Studio Toolkit, you guys have been on it. I love the fact that again, I don't really have to go out of Visual Studio to test this. So let's run this, see what it thinks. Yep, and it works. We don't have I could have cleaned that statement up, but we don't have iris type of flower. Our most popular is roses. So if I now type roses, that works. Great. So we have debugged our Lambda function, and in our last minutes, I'm going to run the bot and take your questions. So let's switch over here to the console. So we're switching over to the console. This is the Lex Bot in the console. Everything that I did in Visual Studio is now live in the console. But let's actually go to Lex and see what's going on over in Lex. So this is our flower bot in Lex where we can test. I have my Lambda function here. I changed my Lambda function quite a bit. So we'll pick Terra Flower Bot. And I purposely deleted this so you can see it for those of you guys who didn't join the session last time. When you add your Lex bot, it's going to ask you, do you want a permission? Great. It wants permission. I'm going to save my intent. Now we know that this is now working how we want it to work. Now I should be able to publish. Choose an alias. We'll just say alias is test. Hit publish. Any questions? I've built, I'm publishing, I'm doing all the good things. Any questions from you guys? We're done. We have successfully debugged our stuff. So there's no emulator. Yes, there is. If you wait till I finish publishing, I'm going to show you the emulator in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, whenever it finished publishing. Nikki just said you can debug using the console write line. There is an emulator for the bot. And if you're saying within Visual Studio, that's one thing, but I'm going to actually show you the emulator of me doing the bot before I publish it once it finishes, and it just takes a couple of minutes. We are a little bit over, but not too much. So any other questions while I'm waiting for this to publish? It is published. Great. So I want to test this. So if I keep saying so for some reason, order flower, what type of flower? You'll see, let me move my face out the way because I want you to see these slots here. And while it's great that you are looking at me, you're not being able to see the slots. So let me move my face out the way. Okay, now face is out the way. Now you can see where it says what type of flowers we are debugging here. And I want to say iris. Now it works. We don't have that type of flower. Our most popular is roses. If I say roses, it asks me what day. Monday. What time do I want to pick it up? 4:30. Make sure you put your PM. You'll see it'll convert it. Please confirm that I want to run this. Yes. And our bot works. It actually is running from Lambda, validating the bot. And you see how we did all of this in Visual Studio. And with that, that is our show for today. Thank you so much for joining. Next week, what we are going to do is, now that we have this bot running, we are going to add into our bot. We need to now get ready to go into Visual Studio and build the ASP.NET part for the bot. And to do that, you need permissions. No more putting secret keys and access keys in code. No more. We're going to go into Cognito. So join me next week. We have our bot running. We have our Lambda function doing what it should be to validate the bot. We now need to build in and work with Cognito and create a Cognito federated identity so you don't use your access keys. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. This is Tech Bytes. We're going to have them every week. We're going to finish building this bot and working with these services. So join us next time. I enjoyed you guys. Bye.